Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk, and welcome to a video that probably long overdue. We're going to talk about the NHL, and more specifically, no, we're not going to go after the current season, the 2024-25 season. I haven't done a preview video of that or picked my Stanley Cup winners. I haven't done any type of recap whatsoever. And I've been a little behind the proverbial 8 ball when it comes to the NHL or any other leagues of that, because I've had other things pop off and go over my head and running down for different scenarios. And, it's a me problem, not a you problem. But we're going to dive into the NHL this time around, going after the Utah Hockey Club and their naming rights issue. Now, in case you don't know, in case you're not a fan of the NHL, Utah Hockey Club is technically a brand new franchise this year. The players, however, were part of the Arizona Coyotes organization. When Arizona Coyotes, they're long, tenuous, trying to find a new home, and they put all their eggs in one basket in a Tempe vote that failed. But the basket was strong enough so they wanted to move it over and try to do a build a project. Land auction, and then all of a sudden hurdles start getting put in place of them. And NHL finally had enough. It's like, listen, sell a team, but we'll give you the naming rights and history. You'll stay in Arizona, give you about 5 years to get your arena situation clarified. So that's when, Ryan Smith, part of the Jazz organization, bought the team, moved up to Salt Lake City. He didn't want to rush a naming right away for the season, so they decided, okay, this year will be the Utah Hockey Club. We're going to take a year, take our time, develop our brand, and we're going to come back in the 25-26 season. So they had the name the franchise contest, which a lot of teams do when teams relocate or expansion teams. These are names that always pop up. And, they had a long list of teams that dealt with either the cold weather, they're ski-related, different type of animal themes, the whole plethora of entities. But the 6 that remained, that were being voted upon by the fans, were the Utah Hockey Club, and all teams will be named Utah, the Mammoth, Blizzard, Outlaws, Venom, and Yeti. Yeti jumped out of front as the fan favorite, the favorite of the Utah Hockey Club organization itself. This is the name that they kind of utilize. They're so often kind of blurt out there like, hey, they look like a future Utah Yeti. So this is the name they were going with. This is the name they wanted from the get-go. I personally never liked the name because the Yeti's not really associated with the Rocky Mountains. It's more of a Himalayan mountain mythological creature. But I get where they're kind of grasping the straw. And another issue I had was that the Colorado Avalanche, in their first few years of existence, had on their shoulder the foot logo, which was the abominable snowman, i.e. the Yeti footprint on the shoulder. And there's some other instances where they had a full-blown version of it, of the Yeti, incorporated with the Colorado Avalanche. They have gone away from that aspect and just embraced, the current format, kind of embraced a little bit the old Colorado Rockies of the NHL. Yeah, there was a team in the NHL called the Colorado Rockies. They're now called the New Jersey Devils. But they kind of take a little of that context from that era and utilize that. So that's that one. Well, not so long ago, the U.S. Patent Office and the local station out there in Salt Lake City caught wind of a lot of the patents that got, or trademarks that got shot down or refused by the United States Patent and Trademark Office. On the 9th of January, the fan favorite, the number one name, Yeti, was rejected. Now, it was rejected for the likelihood of confusion with other registered marks, namely the Yeti Cooler Company. The non-final action states having the word Utah in front of Yetis or Yeti, and the applied watermark is merely descriptive of or generic for applicant's goods, and the wording is not significant in terms of affecting the mark's commercial impression, because Yetis is the more dominant element on the mark. I.e., they're saying you can't say the location is more dominant, it's the nickname associated with that particular franchise. And they're saying there's too much confusion that people could confuse the Yeti tumbler, coolers, whatnot, with the actual team on the ice. I think it's a little wrong to kind of go that direction, but it's just one of those type of things that happens when you tell them with a well-named product like the Yeti coolers or Yeti tumbler, depending on what you use. I don't use that. I have a Camelback. But that's just, my water bottle. It's not a cooler itself. I'll spend, a couple $100 on the Yeti cooler, but spend like $40 on that light to fill it up. Just throwing that out there. So the case. But because Yeti has developed himself into a iconic brand used by outdoorsmen and tailgaters and exercise enthusiasts and even day-to-day life, that they're saying people could get confused that with the team on the ice and could be a conflict of interest. Now, it's not saying we've had that happen with teams and other properties before. If you look at the Seattle Kraken, they actually had the same issue with Kraken rum. Very small company with their own rum. But those two said going into court and battle it out, came to an agreement to do a collaboration in which the Kraken rum, the sponsor of the Seattle Kraken, thus the Kraken rum would get more exposure and probably increase sales, especially those fans of the Seattle Kraken. So they see the little benefit of that one. But remember, Kraken rum had a very small niche market in a larger market in terms of liquor. Yeti, as Perma, has the corner of the market right now when it comes to coolers and whatnot, especially with the durability, surpassing Coleman or maybe on par with Coleman. But that's specs. But what about all the other names? Well, they also came out with saying the Venom was rejected on the 9th, as well as the Blizzard on the 16th of January on the same premise. The Utah Hockey Club stated could not be trademarked because Utah is the descriptive and you can't trademark Utah. Which is true, because then, what going to happen with the state of Utah, University of Utah, Utah State University, Utah Valley University, etc., etc. And then the Mammoth and Outlaws were both initially rejected for clerical issues, which means you had to come up with different things to clarify the wording in ice hockey exhibitions, which include, clothing, jersey, sweatshirts, likeness, and other types of merchandise associated with that name. Those are simple things that be corrected by the organization and resubmitted and should have no issue. Well, I did the video for this. I recorded it. I had Brett ready to go and sat on it for a little bit. Well, recently, Utah has now decided to launch a new naming aspect and move forward. And they utilize 3 names on this, and it's going to be only to those that attend certain Utah Hockey Club home games. Most recently, they had a home game with the Pittsburgh Penguins, where the voting actually was the first time that the Mammoth the naming took place. The names on there are the Utah Hockey Club, the Utah Mammoth, Wasatch. Now, excuse me if I butcher that name, but actually it's a name for a mountain range that could try to, and they've actually stated that they're going to try to utilize to create some type of mythological creature from, i.e. a Yeti, which was never on any list whatsoever, which means the Utah Hockey Club was really dead set on trying to get Yeti somewhere in this name, or try to get some form of symbolism to this name. But when it comes to, this is the game that was held back on the 29th of January, this first thing came up, and they realized that the Wasatch wasn't very popular. You're looking at they're looking at the feedback, looking at the data associated with that, and they saw that the Wasatch was not getting very many votes on that, so they decided to go back to one of the other names that was dropped for clerical issues, and they brought back the Outlaws. And they only have like a few more games that they'll do this with. There's like 3 more games they got coming up where they'll have this name, because with this round they'll actually have logos and jersey designs all sorted out and presented, so that way everyone can look at it and go, okay, this is what we're going with. That does mean Friday, Saturday, Sunday's votes, or at this time frame when this article was written back on the 30th of January. So you look at the 31st, the 2nd, and the 4th of February is the only dates being utilized for the vote. With those dates, do they add additional metrics to the Outlaws to kind of boost their numbers a bit because they're a day behind? I don't know. That's for them to figure out. But with the list of names, I was always particular with the Utah Swarm because it dealt with the beehive aspect of the state, because they are known as the Beehive State. So I was more in tune with that one for them. But then I was also a fan of the Mammoth and the Outlaws. I was never a big fan of the Yeti. Every time I hear that name, I have this song from the Backyardigans singing about a Yeti. Because my little kids at one point in time, my kids at one point in time were little, like everyone else's kids. They watched that, and it stuck in my head. But it's. But also get drawback with the Mammoth because you have Ice Age. Where I gotta see how these things go. I'm hoping sooner or later we'll start getting leaks of what these logos are going to look, what these jerseys are going to look like, or to keep the same color they're using like right now, that powder blue and other blue, dark blue, and the color motif, or going to kind of go more of the Utah Jazz color scheme to match that brand. So it'll be interesting to see where they're going to take it. But for me, in terms of these team names, I'm more attuned to the Utah Mammoth. Then it could really work. Yes, I understand. There's already a Mammoth in the sport leagues in the U.S. You have to go to the National Lacrosse League, which is an indoor league. There's a team called the Colorado Mammoth who's been utilizing that name for decades now. Its owner is Stan Kroenke, the same guy that owns the LA Rams. He also owns the Denver Nuggets. And within a short time frame, all 3 of his franchises won the championship. It'll be interesting to see where this is going to go. But like I said, I put more in the Utah Mammoth. I'll get a little bit to the Outlaws. But they can probably use the Utah Outlaws name for another sports franchise to try and get into Utah. Maybe. Hey, let me know what you think with the current name issue affecting the Utah Hockey Club. Do you think they should keep the hockey club name, or should they go with the Mammoth or Outlaws? Or were you also really hoping for the Yeti to put his foot down in Salt Lake City? So make up a comment below. If you like what I do, hit that thumbs up. Greatly appreciated. Another thing to do is to help to support this channel is to subscribe. The only thing to do is hit that subscribe button, click that bell icon, turn on notifications. Links down. Let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. Now, see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.